I'd like to welcome everybody for joining us to the purpose of this meeting is twofold. One, we want to share a lot of information with you and answer any questions you might have, but also we'd like to hear back from you about in terms of shaping what this cultural district might look like. Um, we have Shannon, can you share the next slide?
Oh, I see. You can't scroll through it.
I
All
cannot
right,
scroll. Yes.
hold on. I'm not sure what happened. There we go.
Um, I want to first introduce um, our partners or who's working on this initiative so far. Also, our meeting goals are we want to explain what a cultural district is and then discuss the opportunities and the benefits and why we think that North Tahoe would be a perfect place to have a cultural district. Also share some of the opportunities and the constraints that we see and also get your feedback of what you might see as of the opportunities of this. And also I want to start the meeting by asking those of you who are here, what brings you here today? If you'd like to share, um, if you're uncomfortable sharing live, you can just type something in the comments, in the chat, rather not the comments. We're looking at the chat. So would anybody like to unmute and share anything?
I'll share. Go ahead.
Okay, great.
My name is Nicole Sterling. I am an artist here in Kings Beach in North Lake Tahoe, and I have always been jealous that Truckee has their own cultural district. And I think that, I don't think, I know, I see a ton of cool things that they get to do within the town of Truckee and for artists and with events and other grant opportunities and show opportunities that are only available to artists in that district or for artists in that district or who are working in that district. And there are so many artists on the North Shore who could really benefit from those similar types of opportunities. And I just think we have so many artists here. There's no reason why we shouldn't have our own cultural district. And when I say artists, that includes writers and makers and all different types of artisans. I just think it would be really valuable for us in North Lake Tahoe, and we have a lot of people who could participate. And I also own an art collective in Kings Beach, so we work with 70 local artists as well. And I know that they would all be interested in being a part of something bigger as well.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. Would anybody else like to share? Pam?
Yeah, hi, I'm Pam Sutton. I'm the treasurer for North Tahoe Arts, and we've been around for over 30 years in both Tahoe City and Kings Beach now. And I have no idea what a cultural district is, but I think it's something that North Tahoe Arts should certainly be aware of. And I'm glad to hear, Nicole, that you're interested too, and it's great to see you.
All right. Did I miss anybody who wanted to say something?
I'll say something. This is Dave Wilderotter. I'm really anxious to see the future of Kings Beach and to make it an art and culture center. I also would love to see the Fox Culture Hall upgraded to a real culture facility.
Great. All right. Anyone else?
Well, I guess I'll just speak up here. I'm a writer based in Carnelian Bay, but I work at a gallery in Truckee, so I'm in the Arts Council directory there. And yeah, like Nicole said, there's so many artists and writers and things going on here in the Kings Beach to Tahoe City area that it's kind of weird to me that I am part of the, in the member directory of Truckee, but not here, like actually where I live. So that's why I wanted to learn more.
Great.
Maria Kiss here. I'll speak up.
Great. Glad to hear from you, Maria.
Yeah, I didn't want to be left out. So I work for the radio station, and it seems like this is more of a, artists that make jewelry and do photography and painting. But of course, music is a part of our cultural scene, and we have a lot of great bands in Kings Beach, Sneaky Creatures for one. So just wanted to see if, music was a part of this discussion.
Great. Yes, definitely will be. Is there, before we move to our next slide, does anybody else want to say anything? I think we got through most of you, either by chat, in the chat, or live. So, okay.
Are we doing introductions here or later?
Oh, sorry.
let's get
You're right. Almost, thank you for reminding me. So before we get into what is a cultural district and answering some of your questions there, broadly speaking, it's a program started by by a legislation and overseen by the California Arts Council. And so they put out an application for areas to become a cultural district. And one of the biggest requirements of the application is that you have at least 3 partners, one representing arts and culture, one representing business, and one from the agency that has land use authority over the area where you're asking for a district. And so the partners that we have that will be in the application, I'm the Jenny Darlington person. I'm the executive director of the Arts Council of Placer County, and we have been asked to be the lead applicant because we have a lot of experience applying for California Arts Council initiatives. And then we also have the North Tahoe Chamber is the partner representing business, but additional partners who just aren't partners in the application are the Tahoe City Downtown Association. And we have, Kat, do you want to introduce yourself, your organization real quick?
Catherine Hill, I'm the executive director of Tahoe City Downtown Association and working with this group on the application. And I'm also, one of my side things, the co-founder of the Tahoe Literary Festival and the Truckee Literary Crawl.
And then, thank you, Kat. And then also the North Tahoe Community Alliance has also been working with us on this. And then for our government partners, we have, and I'm going to read my notes, the Placer County Community Development Resource Agency. That is the Placer County agency that has authority over land use in Eastern Placer County, because it's all unincorporated land right now, or state or federal. But and then also we have the Washoe Tribe of Nevada and California that they've come on board with this project as well. And before I move on, though, Shayna, introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name's Shayna Kaplan. I work with Jenny at the Arts Council of Placer County, and I'm also an artist, and that's how I know Pam. I'm a part of the North Tahoe Arts. I'm a photographer.
All right. Next slide, please. Excuse me. Oh, wait, can I scroll? No, doesn't let me. There we go. So back in 2015, the legislature passed a resolution creating the Cultural Arts District program. And then in 27, they did an open application for areas to be designated cultural districts. Right now, there are 14 in the state. You see them in red, blue, and I don't know if that's like burnt orange. The red ones are urban districts, the blue ones are suburban districts, and the orange ones are rural districts. So there's 3 different kinds of districts. And the main difference is that your urban districts are very small, couple of blocks. Small. You can like El Barrio Logan down in San Diego is one, and I think Koreatown in LA is one. And so there's small areas, whereas our rural districts end up being quite a bit larger because we're just more spread out. But there are 14 districts. And the idea is to highlight the cultural diversity of California, and it's been used for marketing, it's been used for promotion and creation of cultural assets, and for a thriving California arts economy. And the idea is they're looking to promote areas throughout the state that have a unique artistic community identity. And then initially, those districts were given the same thing they're offering now, which was $5,000 a year for 2 years, so a total of $10,000. That isn't designed to be any specific artistic programming per se. It's intended to be funds to create this cultural district. But then in 2023, there was a very large $10 million grant to the Cultural Arts District program, and it was multi-year. And so our districts have invested in all kinds of ways in those districts. And you can go if you want more information about that. You see there's a website listed here about the cultural arts districts.
And I put it in the chat, so it's easy to click on.
Oh, perfect.
I figured out how to put it on my other screen.
Oh, perfect. All right. Are there any questions? I'm going to drill down into a little more detail. Well, I'll drill down into a little more detail, and then if anybody has any questions, I'll take questions. So these districts are a well-defined geographic area, and they're high concentration of cultural resources and activities. And that's what we're working on, is pulling together evidence to show the area's assets. Now, and I'll get into what assets are at a later slide as well. It does include music. And the idea is to highlight current cultural programs, cultural history, the legacy these different areas have, basically are showing our state's most valuable cultural assets and the diversity of those assets. So everything from our rural communities to our specific communities in big cities to, the beauty of Lake Tahoe, we're hoping is going to be one of their newest ones. And you can see here the legislation AB 189. So if any, I'm not going to read that word for word, but that's what it was created for. The application is due August 7th, so we've been working on this for several weeks now. They don't give you a lot of lead time, so we didn't have a lot of time to pull this together, but we really wanted to hear from more community members, and so that's why we're having this meeting. It is a competitive process. There's no guarantee that just because we apply to be a cultural district, we'll be made a cultural district. Right now, there's $100,000 of funding to create 10 new districts. And it's likely they'll end up with 10, although if they have a really compelling reason, they might create more than 10, is what they've said in meetings. And you might be asking, well, for $5,000 a year, is this whole thing even worth it? And the answer is yes, because it gives us the prospect of future funding, and it gives us a group to advocate with to the legislator to do another one of those big $10 million grants. It revitalizes towns, it celebrates culture, it stimulates the economy, and we will have a vehicle for making that claim for North Tahoe if we are able to get one of these designations. Next slide, please. There. So what we see as the benefits is it'll attract artists and creative entrepreneurs and cultural enterprises. It encourages economic development and supports entrepreneurship, encourages preservation and reuse of historic buildings and other artistic and culturally significant resources, fosters local cultural development, provides a focal point for celebrating and strengthening the unique cultural identity of the community, promoting opportunity. So these are the things that we're seeing. We'd like to hear from you. And I'm apologizing right now because I just realized I think I ran into one of Kat's slides. So I'm going to turn it over to Kat now.
Thank you. That's totally fine. Yeah. So before I move on, we can pause for a second. If there's anything else people want to share at this point, or if they have any questions before we go on, feel free. And if not,
I know folks mentioned a couple of benefits like Nicole and others. Any thoughts come to folks' mind? We put together this list. We can see a lot of benefits. Anything else that you would want to share at this time about what you're seeing as the benefits of a cultural district?
And or did was my explanation, the people who came here to find out what a cultural district is, does that feel like a robust enough explanation, or do you have more questions?
This is Dave, and I was wondering with development going on in North Lake Tahoe, does being a cultural district add any cachet to helping promote a library, to helping promote uh, different buildings that have cultural aspects to them. So when somebody applies for a permit, does the fact that they're doing something good for the community culturally, does that add stuff? That was one of my questions.
It definitely, I mean, for one thing, definitely libraries and cultural buildings are part of a cultural district, and they are part of the asset inventory that we're creating. If you're asking if it gives people a leg up with government regulators, I don't I don't know if I can answer that. Maybe Catherine knows.
not in my experience. I have a little bit of experience working with the Truckee Cultural District for the Truckee Literary Crawl. But I do know they work very closely with the town of Truckee on their programming and their initiatives. So I think it's helped to strengthen that each with the other for the cultural community. I would say that.
One thing that I heard when I attended the California Arts Council's office hours for this grant is this last bullet under the 2015 AB 189. They are trying to bring on board other public agencies and private entities to work with the district. So they mentioned that in the last round, they had Caltrans and Visit California on board. So when you ask the question about like projects, I mean, maybe there's a chance if, Caltrans is also like sponsoring or collaborating on this, that in terms of like projects that they would be involved in. So that's all I can think of, Dave, to answer your question.
One of the things that I'm thinking of is the Y in Tahoe City was decimated by a construction project that Caltrans and the feds were running, and to be able to bring back the culture that was there, the statues and the artwork, the trees and the light poles. By being a cultural district, there's, like I said, does that add cachet? I don't know, but seems like it would.
I don't see any world in which it hurts. I don't know that it gives us any authority to tell federal or state government what to do, but unfortunately. But I mean, because you're dealing with different departments of the same government, but still. But yeah, I think that it means that we'll likely be able to, like I said, advocate for future resources. And if that is one of the priorities of the community, then that could be one of the things that funding gets spent on.
I think it could help make a compelling case.
Yeah.
If they've already said, like Caltrans, they want to support cultural districts, and we have projects that they could help with.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions or comments before we move on to the next piece? Do you want to see, Shana, do you want to advance the slide? I think maybe 2 we might need.
Yeah.
One more. Yeah. All right. This is just a quick view for those of you who may have never seen it. This is the map for the Truckee Cultural District because they're our closest example of a cultural district and our neighbor. It's under the Nevada County Arts Council, and they work with the town of Truckee, the Chamber, and the Truckee Tahoe Arts Alliance. They use their initial funding, that small amount, to form their cultural district, and they've got more money through the years to fund other things. They fund local events. They do the art at the airport, dark skies awareness, creative meetups. They have a newsletter. They now do mini grants to other artists and art opportunities in the community. So they've really taken their culture district and grown it since 2017 to really be able to support the arts and culture in their community. If you go to the next slide, Shayna.
Okay.
And so what we're looking right now as we're still developing our application through this is to look at Eastern Placer County, the unincorporated areas that are a part of our community. We are looking to align it with the proposed new town boundary, which would include Tahoe City, Kings Beach, North Star, Olympic Valley, and the West Shore down to the state line and the county line. You do have to be in Eastern Placer County, so it is, contiguous within our county. And right now we're using that map as a guideline to develop our cultural assets. And these are everything from live music, as Maria mentioned, to arts events, specific literary events, our local art community, our Kings Beach art tour, as Kayla mentioned in the chat. It's a wide variety of things. It's our historic ski resorts. It's the museums in Tahoe City. It's music on the beach in Kings Beach. It's a wide variety of things. So right now we're looking at this map, which is where the proposed new town could be if it's passed, and using that as the basis of our cultural district. It may, as we look and put our cultural assets list together, we may have to modify that before we apply. It has to be a significant area of cultural assets to be able to be considered for a district. While we want to include everyone in Eastern Placer County, as we go through the process before August 7th, if we see that there's an area that just doesn't feel like it's maybe adding to our application, we may have to omit, like maybe North Star, Martis Valley area. So we'll have to see as we work through the process and what the California Arts Council is looking for.
And it's also important that even if some of these assets or some of these areas, for reasons that the only reason we would leave anything out is to have a more competitive process or a more competitive proposal, because we have to be in line with what the California Arts Council is asking us for, or, we won't have a competitive proposal. We can still have a map that has assets in North Star and Martis Valley and even any area that is not included. It just won't necessarily be officially part of the cultural district, but we still would advocate for these areas and include these areas in this effort.
It seems like the WashU have so many culture assets around the entire area, that boy, what a good thing to highlight, even in Martis Valley.
Yes,
Yeah.
We've included those on the list that I'm working on, compiling a lot of that. And then Kayla's also asked a question about North Star and Olympic Valley. They are not part of Truckee. They're part of Placer County. So right now we are including both of those in our proposed district, North Star and Olympic Valley. But as we put the cultural assets together, if we need to tighten our actual boundaries, it may or may not exclude like North Star, Martis Valley, but we would still have them on our map, noting that they're part of our community. We would still advocate for them. We still recognize them as an important part of our community.
So Catherine, if you do reduce the map size and let's say eliminate Martis Valley or North Star, what is the negative impact to North Star or Martis? Not really anything, is it?
There's no negative impact because we're committed to still including them as the community and whatever we do moving forward with our cultural district. It's just the guidelines with the state are very specific. And one of the things you're looking at is like, can when they come to do, so if we go to round 2, so let's say they love our application, the next thing is a site visit and they come and actually tour our sites. And one of the things they're looking for is it easily accessible in a relatively reasonable time frame. So as we all know, it's not easy to maybe go to North Star, to West Shore, to Olympic Valley That's a long day. And then look at the assets. So that could be a negative on the application if it's too far away, because North Star and Martins Valley maybe have the least amount of assets on our list, but they're still significantly important to our community. So we may take them out of the official boundary map, but we would still include them on the map and just outside our lines, perhaps.
Makes sense?
Yeah. All right. So, and we can go to the next slide now. So, yep. Maybe go back to issues and
Sorry,
opportunities.
just one sec. I was on mute. I put up the Truckee Cultural District map to demonstrate what we're talking about.
Oh yeah.
You can see here where my cursor is. This is the official Truckee Cultural District boundary, but they have listed things like up on Donner Summit and up here north of town. So if the boundary has to be tighter, there would still be things shown on the map that might not be technically in the actual boundary.
That's a good example. Thanks for sharing that, Shana.
Yeah. Oops, sorry.
Back to one more back. Issues and opportunities. Other way. There we go. All right. So right now we're looking at issues and opportunities, and this is where we want to ask you guys for input too. Some of the questions we've been asking are, what are we missing right now in North Tahoe? What are the challenges we face in the arts and cultures? What are some of the community groups that maybe aren't well served by our current cultural offerings? What traditions, stories, or voices do we feel are underrepresented? What barriers are there to artists and cultural workers? What do you love about our creative culture in the community? What spaces, events, and programs do we bring? What are some of the local other organizations that we could help out if they were part of if we had a cultural district? What partnerships could we build on? So these are just some open-ended questions, some ideas that we have, but we want to hear from you guys, like other ideas, other questions, other issues.
And again, you can put stuff in the chat if you don't want to speak out, or you can unmute and talk and share.
There's a lot of questions in there.
Yeah, I thought we were trying to hit all our bases, but just pick one, or whatever this slew of questions, like, raised for you. What issues, what thoughts did anything help?
Yeah, these
And
are
if
just
not, we'll just pick one and
prompts.
stick to it.
Yeah, these are prompts. I mean, the one about are there specific groups who aren't being well served? That would be a really good one to think about, because the California Arts Council really, they have a strong interest in that, in expanding the reach and the impact.
So it could be a particular art type. It could be a community area within the map. It could be a specific group of people,
I could share some of my personal thoughts. I definitely think we don't have enough programming for our youth to participate in. That would be a great thing to see more opportunities for them. I would say our Hispanic community is probably underrepresented and underserved.
Big time.
Yep. Especially in the arts and culture. Are there ways to help with things that they are interested in, or give them opportunities for, support, outreach, funding potentially in the future for things?
The Washoe tribe.
Yep. The Washoe are definitely underrepresented. So we were very excited that they're interested in being part of this effort to participate and hear their input as well. And then one of the reasons, Priya Hutner and myself started the Tahoe Literary Festival is we have a lot of amazing creative artists in our community, including writers and poets and many creatives, as Nicole mentioned earlier, but they all tend to work in silos. So we wanted to bring those people together and promote them in our community and let other people know that they're there.
We have a couple in the chat.
Okay. Now, let's see. Kayla wants to see a magazine I could contribute to. That's a great idea. Actually, the Nevada County Arts Council has an art magazine. It's one of their initiatives from their cultural district. More reviews of books written by local authors. That's a great idea.
Oh.
And then Maria shared, especially in the winter, there are a limited amount of places to show art or perform. Yes.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
so much is done outdoors in the summer.
Yep. Yeah, it would be great to have more opportunities for that. It's more, that definitely speaks to like infrastructure needs.
Well, I'd like to see the Fox Culture Hall updated and done to a performing arts center.
That's a great idea, Dave. And then Nicole shared, I'd love to see more activities like the Kings Beach Art Tour that drive more visitors to the area just for our arts. I concur with that one. It's a great idea. Or arts related activities. These are all fantastic.
I mean, are we looking for things that we can upgrade, or are we looking for things that we have that are already in place that make it so culturally significant?
Well, we're actually doing both for the application. So one thing they're asking us to do, and I'll talk in that in the next slide, is to make a list of what we already have. That's what they consider our cultural assets. We've been working on putting that together. And then they're also asking us what are the opportunities that we could, if we had a cultural district, to build on.
You know, Kings Beach used to just be tons of art. And it still has art spots, but we don't market it as an art community, and it really is. And it would be great to bring that back. I remember back in the old days, we used to say it was the art of recreation, because art was such a big thing in Kings Beach.
Yeah, I remember when we used to have the shows at the state park
Yeah.
for so many years, and I asked them what happened, and they were like, people can't sell stuff on state property, and I'm thinking, okay.
That's interesting.
I'd like to get the full scoop on that because I really miss those shows.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things, if we are successful, our cultural district can help advocate for those things. Yeah.
I think that one opportunity that we really have is with Truckee. The Truckee and North Tahoe are so interconnected that having two cultural districts will give us an opportunity to be regional in our advocacy and to really bring more opportunities and more funding to the whole area. So I think I actually met with the executive director of Nevada County Arts Council today, and we were talking specifically about the opportunities to leverage two districts into so much more. Like a creative corridor between, you have 89 and 267, and you have this corridor of culture and creativity.
When we talk about the outdoors, we are blessed with so many state parks and county parks, with so much history involved in each of those parks. It's such a cultural asset. Then I don't know if it's so much anymore, but the outdoor recreation that we have is a culture. It's one of our cultures up here, with skiing and backcountry skiing and cross-country skiing, snowshoeing, and then in the summer, mountain biking and hiking and all the trails that we have. I would assume that that's culture.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Kat, are we putting, well, I'll ask the question now, but you can wait to answer it till we get to the cultural assets. But are we putting trails on the list?
I have included some of the larger trail systems specifically. And then I thought more generically, we could, just talk about kind of what Dave just mentioned, our outdoor recreation is part of the culture.
Okay. Want me to go to the next slide?
I think it's perfect time.
1960 Olympics, boy, that was a big deal.
Yes. That is definitely on our list. Okay, so we've kind of talked a little bit about this. So one of the large items we're putting together is what they've termed a cultural asset inventory. So what that is a collection. It's a giant spreadsheet, but it's a collection of who we are, what makes up our arts and culture of our North Tahoe Cultural District that we're proposing. That is people, places, events, artists, music, the Washoe, our local historians and elders. I actually have a growing list of people who are cultural assets that we're working on in the community. Those are our artists, our people who are cultural bearers. Dave, you're on that list.
Yay!
We've been advocating for the arts and live music for the community for decades now.
Yep.
Our theaters we have filmmakers here. We have artists of all kinds, our performing art spaces. I mean, the Lake Tahoe Dance Festival is going on right now. These are all things that are in that as cultural assets, as along with our historical cultural assets, the 60 Olympics, our historic ski resorts, our rails to trails that used to bring people on the rail to get to Lake Tahoe that even made a community in Tahoe. I mean, all of these are pieces of that and that add to our application. Then of course our events that we have now, the Kings Beach Art Tours coming up, the the programs that the North Tahoe Arts does, to what Nicole does at Tahoe Backyard. I mean, all these things are part of that. So we are. Go ahead.
You can add Brendan's Alpenglow series in the winter, which is phenomenal.
Yep.
Phenomenal. That's nationwide recognized now.
And it's been fun collecting all these from everybody and adding to this, because once we get the asset list and people can see it, we have a phenomenal community of arts and culture. I mean, it's just amazing.
Agreed.
Yeah. And so we are actually, as part of that, right now we have on the Placer Arts link, this one on the slide, and Shane, if you could paste it in the chat again too. We are actually we have it open, the asset survey. If anyone wants to submit something to be considered, an event, a person, a place, a historical thing, a winner, something like the winter speaker series that Dave mentioned, or anything else, we are still collecting those assets through 5 o'clock on Sunday. I've been compiling those. We also have done outreach through TCDA, through the Chamber. The Arts Council's done outreach. So we've been asking for anybody and everything that the community has that just helps to build our application.
Is this a couple of already been submitted? Sorry, Dave. I know I think Nicole and Pam, I think, submitted some stuff. So thank you.
Is there a list that you guys have already compiled so it doesn't have to be repeated?
Yeah, I have a spreadsheet that I've been compiling stuff on. So it's okay if it gets repeated. We've been checking it against our spreadsheet.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. And I know there's a bunch of stuff in the chat, and we'll make sure to capture everything. Let me see. Oh, what's considered an asset? It's very broad what they're considering an asset. So that's been, very nice to have a broad definition of what that includes.
So, for example, a music asset, if you have a local bar that is has a really robust live music program, that can be a cultural asset. Or maybe there's a cafe that regularly displays art shows for local artists. That could also, even though it's not a gallery per se, it is essentially a gallery. So that can be a cultural asset.
Yeah. The culinary arts are considered a asset. We've included our breweries, our wine bars that do a lot of programming and wine tastings, our food and wine events in the community. Those are all included.
Historic golf courses. We have 2 of the most historic in
the oldest
in the country.
Yep, those are on the list. Yeah. So if you're welcome to put things in the chat, to use the link in the survey. You can also reach out to me directly if you wanted to. Snowfest, yes, Maria, we got that. And we'll capture all these, everything everyone puts in the chat. We'll be copying that before we end this meeting today and make sure we capture everything.
Another interesting asset that I thought of, I put it on my list, Kat, that I shared with you, but I noticed that one of our community members submitted it too. And that was I don't technically know the name for it, but it's the UC Davis research stuff related to water clarity. I just feel like that's, because of water clarity, it's a big part of the culture in Tahoe.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to think about even science and research and conservation as part of our culture. Well,
the Science Center in Lake Forest is remarkable.
historic fish hatchery, and now they have exhibits at both of our visitor centers as well. They have the demonstration garden at Lake Forest. They are an integral part of our community. Yeah. Summit side photo in Kings Beach. Yes, we have Summit side, but we'll make sure too. Thank you, Pam. Yeah, if you think of other things after this meeting, please do use that link. It is open till 5 o'clock on Sunday. And then afterward, you can still email me if you want to. I'll put my email in the chat. We just have our deadline for Sunday because we have to actually physically make a map. So we have someone at Placer County who is taking on that task. We're going to continue to add assets after Sunday to our application, but we need to turn over the bulk to the gentleman who's tasked with making this into a map. Real fast, I'll put my email in here too.
So in terms of the process here, we'll have to have all this wrapped up, the asset, the inventory, the map, and a lot of narrative questions that Shane is working on. It's all due on August 7th. After that, all the applications will be reviewed. They'll determine semi-finalists. And then if we are one of their semi-finalists, we'll have to be available for their site tour in October. And like we said earlier, they will expect us to be able to give them a tour of the bulk of the assets in the district in about 2 to 3 hours. And we should know, although I'll be honest, the Arts Council is never traditionally great with deadlines. So we're hoping we'll know by December, but it could end up being January or February realistically. And we'll be putting information out through all of our different channels as we learn about it, as what's going on. So that's what we had for our presentation, but we still have lots of time for feedback and discussion. We can close the slides and open it up for anybody who hasn't, wants to say anything else or add anything else, has any questions.
So I just went to this slide because it has
Oh,
the website where you can sign up. I'll put this in the chat now. But we just really wanted to encourage folks, if you want to join the mailing list for the district, then you can join.
because we really want this, even, the Arts Council requires us to have so many partners, but there's been just so much amazing interest in this project. We want to make sure that people feel engaged and included and represented in this process. So we want to stay in touch and want to hear suggestions and ideas and your thoughts, questions, whatever.
Yeah.
Can I ask a couple questions?
Of course, Bridget.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Kat. I miss you. Oh my gosh, I've been a part of so many applying for grants over my career for not-for-profits, and what you're doing is really super awesome. The location, this is a no-brainer for anyone at the state offering a grant on where you're trying to make this happen. So I encourage location, which I know you're doing, and adding everything else. I put in the chat box good letters of support from, a senator's office, an assemblyman's office, and things like that. I recently helped the supervisor with a letter of support for a local, really small community arts program locally in Auburn, California. And just a letter of support, I think helped them get the interview for the grant. So even though it seems political, I think it helps a lot if you have notable people that are also supporting your efforts. And I am super excited about this. I, grew up all around the area in my lifetime, and you guys have mentioned so many places and things I remember that we used to have and that we don't have anymore. And anything I know that we can help you with at the supervisor's office, and I'm sure she would support a letter of support for this grant once you kind of have an idea of where it's going to go. And just know that this is something I know the supervisor supports a lot.
Thank you. We really love to hear that.
Thank you, Bridget. And we would love to get a letter from Cindy if the supervisor is available to do that. We're only allowed to submit 3 letters of support with the application. We can add names of support, which I've been gathering. I think we have about 40 local artists and art organizations who have said, yes, you can use my name, but official 3 letters, we can only submit 3.
So have you ever met the Placer County Community Foundation people who are really heavy in the arts for all of Placer County? They just haven't focused in our area yet. And I think a letter of support from them, because they support the arts throughout the entire county, is someone that I might consider.
Okay.
For you guys, and I'm happy to make that connection, and I'm sure you would get a letter. I think that would be one of the most powerful letters you can get. And then of course the supervisor, I'm sure, would be happy to write something, but we would ask, like we always do, give us some talking points to have a point of beginning to get that letter of support. But and then I'll finagle it and give it to the supervisor and then let her put her personal touch to it.
Okay. Yeah, I can coordinate that with you, Bridget.
Okay.
That would be great. And if you have a contact at the Placer County Community Foundation.
Oh, I do. The top gal, and I will tell her she's going to write you a letter of support. Don't tell her I said that, though.
Okay.
Is there still a connection to Diane Feinstein? Because she's up here on the North Shore.
I'm sure there could be. I mean, we should also keep Tahoe Blue as or the whole $44 million in funding, or no, isn't it $448 million in funding that Diane has gotten for us? It's quite a bit. So.
Yeah.
I know the supervisor has connections there. I would connoiter it some more to see if that's the appropriate letter to have. I think to show local support, local people is, and that these local people are going to be engaged, is something to say, when you give us this money, we have boots on the ground already.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
I'll shut up now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Bridget. I'll be in touch.
Does anybody else have anything they'd like to add or ask?
All I can say is good luck with all of your efforts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate everybody who came and shared and gave us feedback. It's really helpful for our process and our application.
Yeah, because as Jenny mentioned earlier, it was a very quick time from the time they announced it and started explaining it to people to when it's due is a very short timeline. So it's been great to have all the partners step up and commit time and resources to really get this project done. So it's been exciting. And I have people stop me on the street. If I walk through town, they'll be like, hey, did you think about this? Put that on the list. So it's fun to see people so excited about something and what this could mean for our community. And, I just want to mention too, we talked about it earlier in one of our meetings that even if we were not to get the cultural district designation, we could still call ourselves the North Tahoe Cultural District and form our own district, community, and alliance that could work together on projects and advocating for our community.
Certainly, and be ready for the next opening that comes up.
Yep, exactly. All right. Any other comments, questions? We'll be working on this for the next couple of weeks, so feel free to reach out anytime as well. All right.
Absolutely. All right.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us. We appreciate you taking the time in the summer when I know there's so much going on.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
We will capture all your comments too before we ourselves log off in the chat. Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.